A woman with scarlet hair cascading down her back reattaches her prosthetic arm, eyes hidden behind her golden winged helm. This image is seared into my memory like a hot iron brand, indelibly etched into my mind. I didn't know at the time, but this was Melania. Born with scarlet rot blinding her, a beautiful winged helm covered the cracks in her eyes. It was the first teaser trailer for Elden Ring debuting at E3 in 2019. Our first taste of FromSoftware's new IP. Our first taste of the 2022 Game of the Year, and what is at the time of writing, the most awarded game of all time. But why is it so? I own all of FromSoftware's Souls-like games. Whether it be Dark and Demon Souls, Bloodborne or Sekiro, I have attempted them all, yet life commitments had prevented me from spending enough time in their beautiful dark worlds to play through their entireties. Elden Ring was different. There was some kind of mysterious, obscure resplendence which wrapped its tendrils around me, captivating my interest and curiosity like no interactive experience before it. I've pondered deeply what part of this game mesmerized me the most, forcing me both brutally and gently forward, but I can't pinpoint one aspect. It really is the collective creative genius of the entire world, everything contained within that we see, hear, and interact with, that brought about this refreshing, rewarding, and sometimes painful addiction. Throughout this short film, I will attempt to shine light on a few of the aspects of this work of art that enabled me to see it through, and just maybe will draw you through too. One of my earliest memories of my playthrough of Elden Ring was this moment, slowly rising up an elevator platform before having the hands of the world open for me, tempting me forward. It was a perfect gateway into the world, but the gorgeous views didn't end there. They guided me throughout my entire 90-hour playthrough. These views were everywhere. From the ominous Stormvale Castle, the labyrinthine fortress of darkness looming over the land, the spectacular colour palette of Leonia Lakes, the church-like grandiose Rea Lucaria Academy, the crimson hellscape of Caelid, and last on this list, on a list that could last an eternity, just like the stars within, is the Siofra River, a glittering dreamscape of hues delicately dancing quietly around each other. Then there is Torrent, our spirit steed gifted to us by the mysterious yet stunning Melina. Torrent carries us through these lands, allowing us to escape from foes beyond our skill to attempt at a later time, and giving us access to the brilliant spirit springs that enable you to traverse incredible topographical verticality with ease. Elden Ring's soundtrack is as open, vast, and obscure as the game itself, perfectly encapsulating and helping create the tonal quality throughout its journey. From the thunderous opening menu score tempting you in, the delicately somber score adorning the background of the character creation menu, and the epic soundscape behind even more epic battles. It is the score which carries you on its dark heart along the journey to become Elden Lord. On my initial playthrough of the entire story, I hardly ventured away from the standard vagabond build. However, the freedom one has on their journey to create an almost endless array of characters to best suit their desired style of fighting is breathtaking. From prophets casting wondrous spells against their foe, to katana-wielding samurai slicing enemies with their speed and agility, there is always something to suit every playstyle. Try not to allow the decision of class choice at the beginning of the game to paralyze you from the beginning or make you feel locked into any type of playstyle. So how difficult is Elden Ring? Well, that depends on how you play. There really is no straight answer. If you have no experience with this style of game, there's no denying that there is definitely a learning curve. This is not a hack and slash infinite bullet style of game. Once you come to grips with the style of movement and the ways in which best to attack, defend, roll or retreat, you learn that it really is a delicate ballet you are performing with each enemy. You are reading their movements and responding to these with your own. At times, you have opportunities to lead these dancers to bring them down and ultimately bring about their demise. However, the change to an open world for Elden Ring, as opposed to the more closed and linear nature of past Souls games, gives the player the ability to attempt to fight, test their skill, and if inadequate, traverse the world earning runes to upgrade your character's ability to return again in the future. There were many times I took part in fights only to learn I didn't have the skill and decided to upgrade my abilities in this very way. However, in the late game with boss fights like the Godskin duo, I certainly hit walls for sometimes hours until finally defeating these enemies. But I will say this, the euphoria of finally defeating a boss that has been pounding you into the ground for hours is equal to the pain they brought you. I have played many hundreds of games over the past 40 years, and have never felt the way I did after defeating some of the late game bosses in Elden Ring. Once I shed the ingrained learned disdain for dying in games, and learned to embrace death, and learn from my mistakes, it was almost as if I had pushed past a pain barrier, and these bosses became much more manageable. I really did learn a lot about myself, and become a better person by enduring this intoxicating journey. If you are someone who has heard of FromSoftware games' difficult reputation, but doesn't want to try for that reason, I promise, you can beat this game. If you're patient and willing to learn, you can beat this game. I'm now in my 40s. My reaction time isn't what it used to be. I don't make decisions as quickly as I used to, and I still beat this game. I'm by all accounts an average gamer, and if I beat it, I promise you can too. You really need to give it a go. One other defining factor that puts Elden Ring in the you can beat it category are its sites of grace. These gold illuminated points are scattered all over the map. These are effectively safe spots, and there are many of them. This gives you the confidence to give something a go you maybe wouldn't normally attempt, with the knowledge you may only need to travel a few hundred meters across the map at the most, for those times you need to reattempt a part of the game. In no game have I felt a comparable endless wonder and curiosity of what was around the next corner. The only game for me that comes close to this curiosity is Red Dead Redemption 2, and I feel it really comes down to their maps not being littered with iconography leading you literally everywhere. The designers of Elden Ring trusted the players and their innate human nature to explore. I know I was drawn to explore everywhere I could, and this was always rewarded. The world is enormous. From vast open spaces, forests, snow, catacombs, caves, and castles, Elden Ring has it all. Maybe it was because it was released on my birthday. Maybe it's because it's the first FromSoftware game I've managed to see through. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because FromSoftware has developed the most beautifully refined, carefully designed, and addictive game I've ever played. It is a definitive masterpiece that will have a real impact on the design of games in the decades to come. Elden Ring is a world I entered and never wanted to leave. If you have the means, or even the slightest interest to enter this world too, I highly recommend you do just that.